Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I got something a little bit different today. I've said that before, and I'm out here and you might recognize this. I did a video on installing this door. I'm out here at Kim's, and Kim has something a little bit unusual. She has a small sheep flock, and it's lambing time. And we're going to have a look at the lambs. How are you, Kim?
Oh, I'm good, thanks. Here's my escape hatch.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, the wind can get out. We're going to be a little
Might be a little noisy.
scattered because I was taking them. They're all afraid of me. Here they are. All my little black and white Holstein sheep.
This is right down your alley, being a Holstein
I
girl.
know, I was missing the Holstein.
So tell us what you got here, Kim.
So we have, this year I went with Dorper rams, 2 new Dorper rams. There's one right here. So they have a white body and a black head. And so this little, I guess, masterpiece is the combination of the Dorpers with the sort of Katahdin and other crosses that I had going before.
So where's the color coming from?
The black and white is all from the Dorper. Like, that must be very strong genes, I guess, because before my Katahdins were brown, both of them, and so I had a lot of browns in here and kind of more creamy brown colors, like brown legs and little brown heads and stuff. But now, no browns. Absolutely 0 browns came from these moms. So they're all just picking up the color from the Dorpers.
You've got some unusual
I know.
shades.
Markings and, but yeah, you guys don't need to run. No one needs like little lightning bolts on them. And so this one right here, he's the actual, like a true Dorper with a black head and a white body. That's what a purebred would look like. I have only about 3 that actually look like a Dorper. The rest of them are just a big mix.
Mongoloids.
Yes.
I get a kick out of how they like to run.
I know, they love to run when the moms are eating and they have the whole pen to themselves. They do the zoomies, I'm sure you've seen from other sheep videos, but yeah. Zoom around the pen.
So have you still got one left to lamb?
I do. Yeah, she's taking her time,
How come, is that always the way?
usually. You would just like to be done, everybody's done, and the group was pretty close this year, and so you think, yes, good, and then there's one straggler. So, yeah.
So you did something a little different on your breeding this year.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So I accidentally did this last year when a ram slipped in where he wasn't supposed to be in September, and I ended up with a small little early group in February, early March. And then that made the rest of my breeding time come April like kind of a lot easier because I had less at once. So this year I did it on purpose. So I put the boys in for I think 7 days. The end of September, and I ended up with...
Isn't that one right there?
Yeah, that's a Dorper. Yeah. I ended up with...
That's one of the early ones?
That's one of the early ones, sorry, yes.
Yeah.
They're all pretty big. They're growing really well, too. And they're not even, like, in their market pen yet. They're just doing really, really well. Anyways, yeah, so I ended up with 3, I think, that lambed in that group, and then the rest of them lambed when I put them in next.
So what's your average, do you know?
No.
Lambs per ewe?
Yeah. I have 26 lambs out of 14 ewes, we'll say. So almost 2.
Yeah.
I'm pretty close, like 1.8 maybe. I have 3 sets of triplets this year.
Are they still in
so
the pens
far.
over there?
One's in here now.
Okay.
And then 2 are over there. And the bigger, like a
Yeah,
little
we'll go over there and
bigger
see
area.
them before we leave.
And then the one that still has to go, I don't know. She should have twins for sure, but she could also have triplets. We'll see.
So where do you market these lambs?
I just send them to Brussels and then get whatever the price is that day.
So this is kind of this isn't your main income.
I don't make any money on this. Craig likes to remind me. This is a hobby, adventure hobby some days because it is crazy in here sometimes. But yeah, it's a hobby. Something I like. Fun for me.
Well, you've got the facility. You've got a nice little yard,
Yes, I know.
and it works.
Perfect little pasture area. And it's entertainment for other people. They're always like, you want to come see your lambs when they're lambing? So
And actually, that's why I'm here today, because there's a lot of people that say, yeah, I'd like to go see some
Oh.
lambs, but hey,
yeah,
this way they can look at YouTube and see the
you can
lambs.
see the lambs every day if you want. They're pretty cute. I did have them all named, but they're all looking so much alike now. It's really hard for me to figure it out now.
There's quite a few pure black ones.
Yeah, and then I can't really tell them at all. So they're gonna run. I had to chase a ewe today because they're little for coffee. I've set up a creep area for the lambs to go into, so they can eat a little bit more. Well, they can eat their creep, which the mom's gonna get, and it's medicated and helps them grow a little faster and then get used to their market pen food whenever I'm
So, what's your feeding program for the ewes?
I just kind of make it up. But right now, because they're all either nursing or I have one that's still pregnant, they get about 9 pounds, we'll say, of corn and pellets a day
For the group,
for the group. Yeah.
and all the hay they can eat.
And right now I'm feeding them hay 3 times a day, probably, because I'm out here quite a bit, and I have to keep the lambing pens hay full for those moms. So yeah, they get lots of hay right now. But later on, when they wean, I'll just go down to once a day of grain and less, and then only once a day of pellets because they'll be on pasture.
Yeah, they'll be out on pasture. So your lambs, you have a creep area, and you feed a creep feed in there to them?
Yes, a medicated one, so that they just helps prevent that acidosis that they can get. So if they overeat, it's for that.
Well, when we see the triplets, we'll maybe see the
The
hair.
triplets right here.
Well,
This
that's
is
a set
my
of-
first, my older set.
Oh, right here.
Yep.
And
That
that's
mom.
the mom?
Yep. That's the first set of
It's
triplets.
amazing how they hang together.
It is. She's the one that had one hiding because I thought she just had twins for 2 hours.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
then she had another one later. Hiding in there. Like I said, I had to chase this morning because I had one ewe that needed to go back in a small pen so I could look at her a little bit more. She's the one that I had that had a bad delivery. And now she has another problem, but I think we got it figured out. So I had to catch her.
So you got 3 over there now?
Yeah, just one, no babies, just her. She's in like a sick bay, I guess we'll say that for now. But she's doing fine. But anyways, we did a big chase for 10 minutes, so they're all frazzled. I think I'm gonna chase again. I'm not. Promise. Okay, so the reason I like to do the Katahdins before these guys and then the Dorpers now is because they're a hair breed, like her. So then they don't necessarily have to be sheared. I still find I kind of still have to. They don't shed entirely, but she won't. She's a Katahdin, and she's a really good hair one. She doesn't ever need shedded or sheared. So
She's a good mom, too.
yeah, she's a really good mom. She had triplets Saturday night. They're all doing great. They don't need a bottle.
So these were born Saturday night, and today's Wednesday.
Yeah.
So they're
4 days old. Yeah, I just moved them into this bigger pen so they could run around. And they're a little bit bigger than their little lambing jug. But I like to keep the triplets in these bigger pens for, I don't know, 12 or so days, just to make sure that all the lambs had a good start and the moms had a really good start with their feed to keep their milk up. That's just me, but that's because I...
So when a lamb has, when a sheep has their lambs, you automatically put them in a cleaning pen.
Yes.
For
so they can
what?
have some privacy with their babies, especially once it gets crowded like it is right now. Like when she was having hers, the other lambs were running all over these guys, and she was getting upset. And I was like, oh man, we need to move. Have some privacy. There was no space.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And maybe on our way out, we'll have a look at your chicken facility. That's a little bit different.
Another project.
So Kim, we're out here at your chicken operation. Tell us about this.
I only have 8 chickens, but I wanted to make a mobile chicken coop, whatever, because we had the coop from before, and I've gone through about 3 different transportation systems to move them around the pasture and grass, but still keep them contained, because my dog likes to chase chickens and they die of heart attacks really easy. So I like to keep them contained, but free range, you know?
And you'll move it around the pasture.
Yes, eventually. I haven't got in the pasture yet, but I will. That's the goal. Right now they're just going to be on our lawn for a little bit because they still need to be plugged in. It's kind of cold out here.
Oh, it is cold.
The water froze. So Dennis, you and Frank had a really great idea for my wheel system to help move it. You just push down on the end of it. You push down on this thing and up the chain. Like that, and then it'll be up a bit. Doesn't look like it is because it sinks in the ground, but it is up a bit. And on the other side too. And then the front end has a jack that Frank gave me, and you just crank it up and hook it on the side by side, and then
drag it around.
And it's better than what I was using because I had to take all the fences apart, carry them to my new.
Oh, this
house.
should almost be coyote proof.
It should be predator proof, yes.
You got her?
Yeah. Should be predator.
And I like these doors.
They're not quite finished. I did put one handle. I still have to put another handle on. It's a process. But I don't know if, well, you don't know if you ever remember my other coop. The door would hardly open.
Yes.
It would open, but it would hardly shut. Hi, ladies. They are quite happy and very friendly now because I've been in here a lot. I built them a poop shelf and some new roofs, which they really seem to like.
And you can empty it outside.
Yeah, around the other side. But that keeps this area cleaner because most of the poop is from nighttime when they're roosting. Especially when they're outside too.
Yeah.
It's a lot cleaner. Okay. Good night. But yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Thanks.
And I like your sign.
The sign was old, but yeah. Jackson's hen's house. You know, I don't think I have any in here. Got them already today. Oh, I do. I have 2. Bonus.
And you can gather the eggs right there.
Super easy. And they're way cleaner now because of my poop shelf, so I'm very happy with that. I just thought I'd do this taller so that I can go in if I need to. And deal with, I could lock them in their door, but yeah, it's easier. Just go in. If I want to lock them in, I can do that. And I prefer to move them with them locked in.
Yeah.
I'm not going to run over anything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You could run over one.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. I know.
Okay, Kim. Well, thanks for the tour.
Oh, you're welcome. Hey,
It's interesting. And this has all been designed and built by Kim, right?
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, the coop Craig built 5 years ago, actually. I just saw that on Facebook, so it was 5 years ago. But I just did a new end wall for that end and the other end. But this run I did, yeah, on March break while he was snowmobiling.
It's really nice.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for taking the time, Kim.
Yeah.
And we'll catch you on the next one.